I know Mondays are not everyone's favourite. I know people don't really like Mondays, but you know what? If you could pick a Monday, if you could design a Monday, if you could craft a Monday, it would look like this, wouldn't it? That's how it would look. It would look with Rangers on top of the league, 2 points clear of that lot from across the city. Yes, it could have been better. It could have been so much better if that team at Fir Park in those horrible kits could have just held on to a 1-1 draw. But no, I think it's what's the equivalent of Fergie time. They had a bit of Fergie time there, and they managed to score a couple of goals in Fergie time, and somehow fluke their way to a victory in a 3-1 win for them yesterday, which obviously all encompassed in a little bit of a Brendan Rodgers meltdown, which was rather interesting, wasn't it? Having a bit of a meltdown, he was by all accounts at Fir Park yesterday. When a female journalist, pushed him on a question, on a statement that he made. He then finished it off by saying "good girl" and then storming out. Very condescending, very sexist, and very rude. Is the pressure getting to you at all, Mr. Rodgers? Are you feeling it a little bit? Are you a little bit having a little bit of a wobbly? Maybe methinks you might be having a little bit of a meltdown. Not liking the questioning as regards Celtic's attitude and Celtic's thirst for the fight this season. Well, enough about that lot from across the city. Let's talk all things Rangers. We're going to talk a few different pieces of information we've got for you here this morning. We've got this afternoon or this evening. Obviously, depends when you pick up the video. First of all, an apology. Sorry for the appalling sound quality yesterday. A bit of microphone issues. I heard a little bit on This Is Ibrox as well, which I heard. There we go. But yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully the sound is coming through loud and clear and is coming through at a decent volume. I'm coming through with a bit of clarity today. La, 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 la. Clarity. There we go. So let's talk a little bit about one of the best players in Britain at this moment in time. Probably Rangers player of the season so far. Probably, probably the best goalkeeper in Britain, if we are being honest. Well, English goalkeeper in Britain. I'm sure that fans of Alisson Becker and Ederson could certainly argue about that. But hey, let's talk a little bit of Jack Butland first of all. We've got that. We're going to bit on Glenn Kamar too, and how he's kind of giving a bit of a backhanded compliment to Ibrox and from Rangers fans and to the club. A bit of that to come. And we're also going to talk, obviously, about Dujon Sterling, Mohamed Diamande, and a bit of John Lundstrom too as well. So let's start off with talking a bit of Jack Butland, shall we? Now, as we know, in January, there was some rumours of some interest from an English club. Probably 99% certain it was Nottingham Forest. Yes, with that what word can I use? I won't get myself into trouble. That's that individual. That's what we'll call him, Ross Wilson. Yes, who pretty much balls up a lot of transfer business for Rangers. I was trying to get hold of Jack Butland. Now, as we know, Jack has been absolutely phenomenal for Rangers this season, just absolutely outstanding. And the fact that we have the best defensive record in Scotland, I think, can be largely put down to the work of Jack Butland between the sticks. Yes, he pulls off some great saves, but it's not just that; it's the organisational work he does at the back. You always see him shouting and pointing and organising his defenders, and the fact that he must give such confidence to his defence, the fact they know that he will come and claim the ball, that he will sweep up behind them, that he's always there and he's ultra reliable. So that's got to give the defence a lot of confidence, and a lot of credit has to go to Jack for the stability and the quality of the defence this season. Now, according to obviously the reports that came out in January, Nuno Espirito Santo and Nottingham Forest were interested in swooping for Jack Butland. Obviously, Rangers said no way, not for sale, not happening, absolutely zero chance of it. Of course, Jack Butland though has said that he was made aware of an approach by his agent, but he said that there was only ever going to be one response. It was a straight no. My agent said, "This is happening. What do you want to do?" Butland explained, "I said no." He said, "I agree." The club had said no anyway, so it was just a no on all fronts from the get-go. And that was that. We were actually with the team. I think it was the deadline day. We were all out together at a team event, and that was that. There wasn't even a chance. I'm enjoying it. There is too much to achieve. There is too much left to do. It's quite clear that Jack Butland is exceptionally ambitious for the future. And when Jack arrived at Rangers, didn't he talked very much about wanting to win trophies. He talked about wanting to get his hands on cups and medals and be successful. And he's obviously in a great position here under the fantastic management of Philly Clement, who has been absolutely phenomenal since taking over. To be the goalkeeper that actually does win medals, wins trophies here. We're obviously 2 points clear in the league. We're still in the Europa League, so he's getting European football as well. Not just that, but you've also got the whole you've got the Scottish Cup as well. So there are still 3 fronts on which we are competing. And Jack is right. There is still a lot to do here at this club. Not only just this season, but in terms of the future as well, about building a real structure to set foundations to build years of success to come on. And Jack is kind of a foundation block, a foundation piece, in my opinion, to that success. And it's clear that Jack does not want to go anywhere, that he wants to stay at this club. He loves being at Rangers. He's quite clear his love for the club as well in the interviews that he's given, in the comments that he's made. You've got to really admire Jack and the way he talks about the club, and his enthusiasm for pulling on the shirt and getting out there at Ibrox or wherever Rangers are playing and being the very best he can be. So, really reassuring that Jack doesn't want to move on. I mean, obviously the question has to come that if in the summer an English Premier League club came in with a 20 to 30 million pound bid, the club has probably got to consider it. But, they've got to take into account the wishes of the player too. It's all very well and good having a trading model where you flip players for more money. But, if players don't want to move on, if players don't want to go, you can't force them. Well, that you can force them out, but it's not good for the reputation of your club. It's not good for team morale, as we saw obviously with Fashion Sakala in the summer. So, at the end of the day, I've got no doubt in my mind, Billy Clement is not that type of manager. Niels Koppen is not that type of sporting director. So, I don't think that's going to happen. That if Jack was to turn around in the summer and say, no, I don't want to go anywhere, I want to stay here, see how, get us further into my contract, etc., at least the end of the year. I can't see the club, even if the bid came in of 25 to 30 million, having the nerve to actually sell him, given, that will be what Jack wants and Jack desires. At the end of the day, we have to listen to our goalkeeper. But it's great news that under no circumstances would he consider leaving the club. He is, by my estimation, probably the player of the season so far. He has been absolutely magnifique, absolutely perfect, absolutely brilliant. He is just a superstar, and obviously very popular with the female Rangers fans as well, and some of the male fans too, just to balance it out. Look, whatever you think about Jack and whatever you think about everything, you've got to agree the team are doing absolutely superb. And like I said on yesterday's video, what is most reassuring for me, what is most telling for me, is that Philippe Clement is getting this team to improve week by week. As he dints his ideas into them, they get better and better game by game. If you were to go back and sit and watch the first game that he managed and go through, and that was against Hibs, and watch every single game after that up until yesterday's game against Hearts, it's quite clear for me that you would see a progression, an improvement, steady improvement, and little things being added all the time, in terms of the confidence of players in playing in different positions, in the way we move the ball, in the way we press, in the way we defend, in the way we attack, in the way we use the width, in the way we use the channels, in the way our runners go forward. You will see a development there, a real, sense of purpose, a real, forward motion in this team. And it is down to the work of this man that we are moving forward, down to the genius of this guy that we are absolutely moving in the right direction. His passion is quite clear, his pride in the club is quite clear, and he really has developed that S word that appears so many times now on all Rangers podcasts and all content to do with Rangers, a synergy between his team and the fans. Something we saw absolutely perfectly on Saturday with the amazing atmosphere that there was at Ibrox from the start to the end of the game, as obviously Philippe Clement and Rangers overcame Hearts in that fantastic 5-0 victory at the weekend. But for me, one player who stood out again on Saturday, well, I'm going to talk about 2 players in particular. I want a little sort of start off and talk about who really did stand out for me. Was first of all Dujon Sterling. Now, Dujon Sterling is just an absolute superstar. He really is. I mean, you think about this lad, and you think about when he was brought into the club. He was brought in from Chelsea, obviously. He had loan spells with Stoke, for example, and when he was brought in, Michael Beale, the then manager, yes, we all think Michael Beale is an absolute joke. And then, he's kind of proved that he is a bit of a joke, isn't he, with that burner Twitter account that he used to defend himself. Very amateurish. I can't see a football chairman touching him now. But you've got to respect him for some things. And what he said about Dujon Sterling was absolutely spot on. He said, I'm delighted to welcome, this is way, way back, remember, when he signed him on a free. That's another thing. It didn't cost us a penny. I mean, we'll come to that in a minute. Let me just do me a favor. Take the idea about him coming for a free. Just park it at the back, and we'll get back to it in a minute. It's coming. Just hang on to it. Lock it in there. This is what Michael Beale said. He said, I welcome Dujon to Rangers. He's an exciting young player who I'm sure will be a great addition to our squad. He's strong, powerful defender who has fantastic attacking qualities, and I look forward to working with him at Rangers, which is obviously exceptionally high praise indeed for the player. And Dujon Sterling under Philippe Clement has become so much more than just a right back, so much more than just a defender. He really has, Philippe Clement, turned this young man into an absolute superstar, turned this young man into an absolute, just heavyweight at the club, a real player's player, a real fans player. I mean, you look at when he's asked to do something, when he's asked to do a job, he quite happily will fill in and do any job that is asked of him. So we've seen him play right back. We've seen him play left back. We've seen him play in defensive midfield. We've seen him play on the wing. We've seen him play on the left wing, the right wing. We've seen him play in a number of positions. And it seems to me that Philippe Clement is developing this young player into being someone of that perfect hybrid player. I mean, when he was interviewed recently about this move into midfield, he's talked about the fact that when he came on and did it, it was the first time he'd ever done it and the first time he'd actually done it in a game. And he talks about how the boss, in his words, wants him to play in 4 or 5 different positions. And Philippe Clement, if you remember way, way back, when, he came to the club, he talked about players starting to develop a confidence to switch position, to move like fluidly on the field and be able to play in a number of different positions. And in a way, Dujon Sterling is that perfect player. He is the player who does that on a regular basis. He is an absolute quality player. Like I said, wherever he seems to turn out, he seems to be an absolute quality player. And I think, there was a kind of a feeling there that for me, that he was going to be the replacement right back long term for James Tavernier. And once Tav went or was, retired or was sold, that was it. That at the end of the day, this would be the boy to come in and replace him. This would be, the next guy. But I honestly feel now that he's kind of cemented down a place in midfield, whether that be on the right side of midfield or whether that be in that defensive midfield role alongside Diamande or alongside Lundstrom or alongside Jack, whoever it may be. He has really cemented that place. I mean, for a number of reasons, really. Number one, his work rate is absolutely fantastic. Number two, the way he gets stuck into the opposition. I mean, when a player is tackled by Dujon Sterling, they stay tackled. He doesn't just tackle them. He will also go through them, take them out. He just, for me, is just absolute quality in what he does and just absolute super, just an absolute brilliant player. Now, on Saturday, again, we saw again another outstanding display, winning the ball, using it well, getting crosses into the box. It was his cross that led to that goal, second goal for Dessers. And certainly, I read some of the ratings, the documents that comes out. He's getting rated anything between an 8 and a 10, even a 10 by Ibrox News rated him as a 10. He does appear to have absolutely everything. He's energetic. He's threatening in advanced positions. He's not afraid to have a shot. He's strong. He'll muscle players off the ball. He produced. Like I said, he had a part in the second and the fourth goals. He won every ball in the midfield that came his way. He linked up brilliantly with Lawrence. His crossing has improved just out of all recognition. And I think a lot of people are talking about the fact that he could well become undroppable and the first name on the team sheet in whichever position you choose to play him. And for me, he's just become an absolute must, an absolute stud. Now, do you remember I asked you to keep that idea at the back of your head? Now, can you remember what he cost us? He cost us absolutely nothing. Zero, zip, Nada, nothing. Now, transfer market currently listed, I think it's transfer market, or might be transfer tavern or somewhere, lists his current value at 3.1 million. I would place it a lot higher than that. Now, this is again another player that a year, 18 months, 2 years down the line, we're going to be able to flip for an awful lot of cash. I mean, if you can, like I said, he was a free signing. You're probably going to look at 10 to 15 million for this kid in a couple of years' time. And that is a massive profit on a player. He is that good. And you never know, get an English club interested. God knows what you can get from him. You can fleece as much money as you want out of that lot. So look, gotta say, Dujon Sterling for me was absolutely brilliant on Saturday, and he's been brilliant whenever he's been called on. He's never ever let this team down. He's never ever really done anything. I mean, even that sending off, which was exceptionally dubious, you can't say that he let the club down there. Don Robertson messing up. He has just been absolutely brilliant, and I've got to admire him. He is fast becoming one of my favourite players at the club. And it's quite clear as well, he's another one that gets it. He gets what it is to be a Rangers player. He gets what you have to do to endear yourself to the supporters, to really show yourself to be committed and to be the man. So for me, absolutely outstanding, Dujon. Well done. As I said on the video yesterday, I thought John Lundstrom was absolutely brilliant again. And like what's been said by countless people, and I'm just going to echo it again, John Lundstrom has become undroppable. John Lundstrom has become a key piece on this team and a key part of this title push. And behind Jack Butland, it's probably one of our player of the season behind Butland. And John Lundstrom, you've got to look at it now and think, how can we not give the guy a new contract? On Saturday, he absolutely dominated that game. He ran that game. He nicked balls. He passed the ball well. He used it. He inspired. He was a leader on the field. He's just everything you want in a modern midfielder. And him and Diomande were just absolutely brilliant together. And I thought Diomande is looking like the midfielder that we have needed for years now. He, again, absolute quality, Mo Diomande. So, look, at the end, I've got to say, John Lundstrom, look, I hope that new deal goes through sooner rather than later, because he certainly deserves that new contract with the quality of play that he's put in recent weeks. And we're going to need him and Diomande and Dujon Sterling on top form on Wednesday night when we travel to Rugby Park to take on Kilmarnock on that hideously horrible pitch against a very good, well-organised, informed Kilmarnock team. More of that, obviously, to come in the rest of the week. Now, an ex-Rangers player has been, in a way, giving a backhanded compliment to Rangers and to Ibrox and to the fans. Now, Glenn Kamar has spoken previously about, how fantastic it was to play at Ibrox on some of those European nights, how he'll never forget, obviously, the atmosphere against Leipzig and his goal and what it meant and the significance of that goal as well. He's always been very clear in that. Now, talking to the media after Leeds' very impressive 3-1 victory over Championship leaders Leicester, he talked about the Ibrox atmosphere and talked about how Elland Road, Leeds, needed to echo that atmosphere that was generated at Ibrox. Kamar has talked already about experiencing some of the best nights of his life, and on European nights and on those Europa League run to Seville. And he said to the Leeds media, he said that Elland Road needs to be on the same level as Ibrox if we want to ensure that we're making the most of our remaining home fixtures. Elland Road needs to become a fortress, and the way it can happen is by becoming like Ibrox was on those European nights. That is just, it's a great, look, at the end of the day, yes, he's gone. Yes, he maybe didn't leave on the best of terms, and he's certainly having a great season. Chatting to some friends who are Leeds fans, they rave about Kamar. I think he's a fantastic footballer, and respect to the guy, and I wish him all the very best. But for him still to talk so well about Ibrox and about the atmosphere, which we all know is incredible, but he's right. It is second to none at the moment, and always will be. He is right in the fact that if a club wants to have a fortress of a home, it needs to look at clubs like Rangers, just Rangers really, because to echo that and to be that fortress, to generate the atmosphere that we generate, particularly on those big game nights when it's absolutely rocking. And it's absolutely superb to hear Glenn still talking in such amazing terms about the club and such glowing terms about Ibrox. Well, guys, a few things we've covered in the video this morning. Trying to have a look at that league table. There it is. There's that league table, guys. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it for a moment. Obviously, Wednesday night, we go up against Kilmarnock away. They play Dundee. Big night, big set of results. Let's hope they fall apart again and that we continue this excellent form at Rugby Park and be the first Old Firm team to actually win at Kilmarnock this season. Well, thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, guys, please hit the sub and help the channel to keep on developing and keep on growing. Your support has been utterly phenomenal. As always, on the way out, I ask you two things. Number one, smash the like. And number two, always remember, please never forget, we are the people.